Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Women's Fittest. My guest today is IFBB Fitness Pro, Alix Small. Alix, thanks so much for joining me today. How are you?
Yeah, I'm so good. Thanks for having me on. Literally so appreciate it. And yeah, I'm excited. So thank you again.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure. I've been following you for a while now, and you have such an amazing story of overcoming and resilience. And, I've been doing these podcasts for a while, and it is sort of common for people to get into bodybuilding and fitness with a background of having some sort of an eating disorder, but everyone's story is so unique, and I'm excited to hear about yours and share yours with the listeners today. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Yeah, if it can inspire just one person, then that's amazing. So yeah, definitely excited to share, and maybe, as I say, that'll inspire some other people as well.
That's kind of the best mindset to have. If you can affect even one person, then putting yourself out there is worth the effort. So that's just wonderful. So let's get started. I usually start with a question that just kind of gives us a little bit of a background. So if you want to share, well, first of all, let's start with, where are you located right now, and where are you from? Because I think people are going to notice the accent and be like,
yeah,
what's this?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Scottish born and bred. Yeah. So currently I'm in Scotland just now. I live between Dundee and Aberdeen, so quite north of Scotland. I was born up here as well. A couple of years ago, I did move down to England, and I was training down there. But last year I came back up to Scotland for my prep, and I just really enjoyed it, being back here. So I'm here for now, but who knows where to next? Who knows?
Do you have family that's nearby? Are you close with your family? Is that important?
Yeah, we all stay around here, so it is nice. It's I'm close to my mum and dad, and even my little brother. So it's nice just to be in the same kind of town and be around them as well. So that is always nice.
So this is my relatable to that. There's a man that works at the bank where I go to who has come here from Scotland. They came here
Really?
Yes, he came
That's so
here.
Funny.
And I always talk to him. He's real young, and his wife is a teacher around here. But I always talk to him. It's everyone loves a Scottish accent, and you're like, this is just how I talk. But
I bet it sounds so funny to you guys, hearing his accent, because it'll be like a fish out of water over there.
Yeah. And I mean, I love it. I think it's so great, but he has really great insight to a lot of things. And I always talk to him probably more in depth about life stuff than you would normally with someone at the bank, but it's really fun. So anyways, what I was going to ask you about that was, he said that the towns are kind of they're little cluster towns, and then there's country. Is that how most of Scotland is?
Yeah. I mean, we do have cities, but I wouldn't class them as big cities. I mean, obviously you've got Edinburgh and Aberdeen is a smaller city, and then you've got Glasgow, that's a bigger one as well. But then kind of in between there, it's just kind of little towns spread out all over. So I'm just in a little town. But I do like city life, so just here for now, but who knows?
Did you so, and I also, this is totally sidebar, but I also follow this guy on Instagram who is a sheep farmer, I think, out in Scotland as well. I grew up on a farm, so I find that fascinating.
Okay.
But
yeah, there's loads of farms here. Loads.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so that was random, but I like asking a lot of questions. So anyways, let's get back to so what was your childhood like growing up in Scotland, and did you play any sports, or what kind of transitioned you into getting into bodybuilding?
So I've done sports my whole life, literally since I could walk. I've done sports. I mean, it was always something that I loved and I was passionate about, and I am so competitive. So it was always something that I was in with and was going to do. So when I was 5, I actually did swimming and gymnastics. I was probably actually naturally better at swimming because I'm quite tall. I'm like 5'8", and I've got my arm spans longer than how tall I am. So yeah, I was probably naturally better at swimming. However, I did have a passion for gymnastics, and you've got to follow your passion, because that's, you're always going to do best wherever your passion lies. So yeah, I trained in gymnastics until I was 15. And when I was 15, that's when I started to get poorly with my eating disorder. Do you know what? I think it's just a constant pressure that you put on yourself. So for about, how many years was it? I was 18 when I started going back to the gym. And it was like a flick in my head. In fact, yeah, I was 18 going on 19. And it was literally like a flick in my head. It was like, right, okay, this is what I'm doing now. It's so strange how our minds work, but it's like, yeah, it was like, right, the competitiveness was there again. So that was really exciting. And when I started training again, I was like, I just loved taking myself to that point of like when you're training and it's like, I don't know, I love the extremes of it. So yeah, that was when I was like, right, I want to bodybuild, and literally just fell in love with it.
I want to ask you something about what you said earlier. Do you feel like it is important for children to, like, you said you wanted to follow what you were passionate about, even though you were maybe better at another sport? I think about that all the time, because some of us have a lot of things that we're good at, and it's really hard to focus on one rather than like you don't want to spread yourself too thin. So I thought it was really interesting that you were like, I was really good at swimming, but I went after what I was passionate about.
So, I mean, I think that no matter what you may be best at in the start, if you really love something, if you are genuinely passionate about it, you will end up better at that because you'll put more time and effort into that. So you're always going to come out on top doing whatever your passion is, rather than trying to do something that you don't love as much. Because as I say, if you genuinely do love whatever it is that you're doing, like the time, the effort, and everything that you do put into that is gonna show in the end.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That is very well stated. Okay, so you started going back to the gym while you're 18 or 19, and you were really getting into bodybuilding at that point. How did your eating disorder work into this? When did you have have you been struggling with it? Excuse me, have you been struggling with it? Or can you explain a little bit of a timeline? I know a lot of people usually hit like a rock bottom somewhere. So was there a turnaround that then brought you to bodybuilding, or how did that?
Yeah, so like I was probably at rock bottom I started struggling when I was about 15. And I got poorly, like really poorly then. And then I kind of tried to get a bit better, but I was still so tiny, not doing any sports or anything, and I just wasn't in a good headspace. And then I kind of went down again when I was like 17, 18, and I was like, I just can't keep going down, or it's just going to end up bad. So then I got a little bit better and started eating like more food and stuff, and then I kind of had a little bit more weight on me. So I was still tiny, but I did have weight on me to go. I was able to go and train then. So yeah, when I was like 18 going on 19, that's when I started training, and that's when the switch came in. It was like it was like the purpose to want to get better. It was like going from not having something to focus on to then having something to completely focus on. And it was like, right, I don't care what I need to do. I want to be the best that I can be at this. So whatever I've got to do, I'm going to do it.
I think that's amazing, because you're right. You do take this focus of the one extreme, which is bringing you further and further into, an unhealthy state. And then
for sure.
You flipped the direction, saying, I can be extreme with this sport and continue to try to get better, but I'm doing it in a healthful manner, building my body.
For sure.
That makes a lot of sense. So So tell me about this journey. So you started training. How long was it before you actually stepped on stage to compete?
So this was a whirlwind. So I started I say properly bodybuilding training. I mean, I was trying my best and pushing myself to my limits, obviously, but obviously there was probably a lot of things that I could have done better. But I started training in February, so I turned 19 in March, and I competed in October. I competed in September. That was that had to do a regional. I won the regional, and then the next day I did the British final, and I came second, so I just missed out on the pro card. So a month later, I went again at the amateur Olympia, and I won my pro card there. So yeah, it was honestly crazy. And the thing is, like, I was still super tiny, but obviously in the fitness category, 70% of your score comes from the routine. So yeah, that was like a massive factor, like adding to it.
Yeah, even on the pro level, the variety of physiques that you get in the category of fitness is it still varies quite a bit, even on the pro level. There's not, it's not nearly as, I want to say, cookie cutter as like what you would see with maybe figure or bikini or something like that. So that is nice. I love that you're judged so much more on your performance, because that's probably an area that you really like to put a lot of effort into, is it not?
Yeah, like it's so unique, the category as well. Like it's just so different to like any other category. Like obviously, like when you're on prep, it's not just like you're doing your cardio and your diet and your training. You've obviously got the routine aspect on top of that as well. So like it is slightly different, like in terms of time with your like doing routine, and like you just got to be super careful of like injuries and like different recoveries and stuff like that. So it's so unique, but I just love the category so much, because it's like you get to like combine something that's like I've been passionate about as a child and something that I'm passionate about as now. So like I just love it so much.
Do you feel like you have a kind of a leg up being a person who, I don't want to stereotype, but I want to say, like, I feel like the people that I know who have had issues with anorexia have always had a high energy level. So even when you are, in those times when you were very depleted or even like kind of sick, did you still have a lot of energy to try to exercise and burn off calories? I feel like almost that would be an asset to you as a fitness competitor, because you are expending all this energy while you are doing these extensive routines. Is that still part of like kind of who you are, do you think? I know people are so different, and I'm like, I personally am not one that, like, when I'm dieting, like the energy goes down big time. So do you feel like you have high energy a lot of the time, regardless of, your level of leanness and that type of thing?
Don't get me wrong, when I'm when I'm at the back end of prep, I am bloody knackered. I am tired. But it's a completely different it's different, because I'm not doing it to burn calories. I'm doing it because I want to win. I want to bring the best performance that I can to stage. So
yeah,
I'm gonna do those extra gymnastics like repetitions, or I'm gonna do those extra half an hours, or it's definitely not because I want to get leaner. Like it's like like training in the gym is for performance, and it's the same when it comes to my fitness routine. I'm doing that for performance. That's not to like burn. I mean, obviously with doing extra like the fitness practice, you do burn more, but
yeah,
usually like because obviously like we are so active, I know that I anyway do probably come in a little bit faster than somebody that was just doing like bikini or figure or physique even. So we do implement a good bit more food at the back end, just to give me more energy so that I can do the routine better, and just so that it keeps me a little bit fuller, because obviously I do come in a little bit quicker with having that extra output.
Yeah. I was thinking about, because when I interviewed Whitney Jones, she was talking about that too, about how she had to put more food in, like you said, closer to prep, just because you're closer to to show day because you're burning so many more calories. I personally just feel like y'all are a different breed as far as
We're all crazy. Yeah, we're all crazy.
Yeah, I know. And I know every competitor who I've ever talked to has the highest respect for the fitness competitors because they're like, I'm dying right now, but I don't have to like fight for my life for 2 minutes on stage like they have to do with their routine. So it's pretty incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I think like there's just so much, especially like within our category as well. Like, we just have so much respect for each other because it's like we all we're all like so tired, but it's like we know that we've got this job to do, and like I don't know, it's just like one big family. Actually, it's nice.
Yeah. How old are you now? You're still quite young, aren't you?
Yeah, I just turned 22 in March. So like last month. I was trying to work out if it was April or March there, but yeah. Yeah, I just turned 22 in March.
That's incredible. So tell us a little bit about, you earned your pro card, and what year was that in that you earned your pro card?
2019.
Okay, so let's move on a timeline a little bit and talk a little bit about what's gone on with competing from since then until now.
Yeah, so I won my pro card 2019 in October, and from then I just knew that to be competitive I needed to put on a lot of size. So to put it into perspective, when I won my pro card I was 49 kilo on stage. I then had an 18-month off season, like because I knew that I needed to grow. And when I stood on stage last year in August, I was 61 kilo. So I'd put on 12 kilo of muscle. Yeah. And I was a lot leaner, obviously, this time. So a solid 12 kilo of muscle. And then that was my pro debut, and I won my pro debut, and then qualified for the Olympia. So the Olympia was my 5th ever show.
That's so crazy. Are you blown away by your by your accomplishment? I hope you should be so proud of yourself.
Yeah, I'm of course proud, but like I always want more. You know, but like I'll always say it to everyone, like you literally get out what you put in. If you know, you give your soul to it, and you can't do any more than that. So yeah, definitely just give everything that you've got.
This is definitely one of the, you know, the number one things that people say about this sport too, because this is the, you know, physique that it's only can be earned. You can't purchase this at all.
No,
You know what I mean?
no.
So you do.
Yeah.
You get what you put in. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I think like any competitor knows that. Every competitor knows that, and like I think that's why like we all feel like when we know that we've done everything that we can, like it's almost like that kind of like pressure comes off when you go on stage, because you just feel like so proud of yourself knowing that like you literally couldn't have given anything more. Such a good feeling.
Yeah. It's just a good way to go through life, right? Does this bleed into every aspect of your life as well? Are you very diligent about all the other things in your life as well?
Well, when it comes to like training and like cardio and stuff, yeah, because I'm competitive, so I'm like, if I'm like doing like cardio and if I've climbed so many floors on the stairs, I'm like, right, you get on them stairs and you're gonna beat that next time, because if you don't, then you're gonna stay on here for longer, you know. It's like so competitive. It's like little mind games in my head. It's just the way I am.
I think that's great though. That's how, you know, you keep yourself going by constantly trying to, you know, progress. I mean, that's what progression is, right? You have to measure it in some way or another. So you're always finding ways, whether they're actually, you know, something that you could put on paper to better yourself every time.
Yeah, for sure. And it definitely works.
Yeah. Yes, better and better. So so did you struggle with this improvement season where you had to, because obviously you had to put on body fat as well? How much of your past with your eating disorder affects that? Do you feel like you're in a good state of recovery at this point? And yeah, let's talk about off season a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think like those days are in the past with me. However, when anybody goes into an off season from being stage lean, it is hard when you look at yourself in the mirror. But that's when you've got to remember your why. So for me, my why is so much more important than what I look like at that time being. So I just put a hoodie on, put some joggers on. I'm like, right, let's go and train, and let's make sure that this is actually, worth it. And like for me in off season, especially like as females, we need to put on body fat to grow, and that's just the way that it is. And I see people staying lean in their off season, and like fair enough, that's the way that they want to do it. But I preach you're going to have to put on body fat, especially as a female, if you do want to grow in off season. And with having such a successful off season the first time round, like I learned a lot from that. I mean, obviously there is always things that you can do better. But I went up to my peak off season weight that year was 85 kilo, and I was 61 kilo on stage, and that was from 49 kilo, so I was heavy. But it wasn't to the point that, well, I suppose at 85 kilo it probably was, and that's when I knew that I needed to maybe pull it back a bit. So we pulled it back and reined it into about 7 to 8 kilo, and just kind of solidified that weight, and then we started to come down again. But definitely it is a must. As long as it doesn't affect your training and your digestion is still good, push the food, like absolutely push the food. My food this past off season was 6,000 calories a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet you were uncomfortable. That's
of course I was. I mean, I was full, and it does make you tired, but I wasn't pushing to the point that I was like absolutely, like fat and massive. It was like I had body fat and I felt uncomfortable, but training was good, everything was progressing, digestion was still okay. And I think as long as those things are intact, you're okay. Like just push,
Yeah. When I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about how much experience is the best teacher with all these things that are happening. When you experience, the progress that's going on in the gym, then you see that what you're doing is working. And when you experience this win on stage, then you see that this prep is working. And when you see that you're pushing food and you're putting on muscle, and then even taking the body fat down and seeing what is happening, like a lot of people, I think, struggle with fitness because they don't put in a good amount of time with consistency. So they don't get that experience. And then they think, I can't lose weight or I can't put on muscle. But like you said, being diligent about all these things, then they all add up to an experience that shows you that it's working.
For sure. And everything takes time in bodybuilding. Like you ain't going to see progress overnight. And especially when you're in off season, like I would send off my check-ins to my coach, and that would be that. I wouldn't look at them, but it's just so that it's like in a routine of doing it. When you've got extra body fat on, you definitely aren't going to be seeing mad progress, and that's the thing that I think that people also struggle with in the off season, because it's not like prep where you see progress week to week, or then at the back end, day to day. It is a lot. It is, a long process. But if you do want to progress, it's one that is absolutely necessary and it's needed.
Yeah. It's tougher for women because guys can put on body fat and they still look bubbly and muscly, but it really smooths out the females, where even to the point where it's tough because like on social media, people will be like, oh, did you lose muscle? And you're like, no.
Yeah. Honestly, like in my first big off season, when I went up to like 85 kilo, like I didn't look like a bodybuilder. I just looked like a normal person. But at the end of the day, it worked, and I did have mass under there. I had extra mass under there, so I don't have any regrets. I mean, I probably wouldn't push quite as high in body fat, but that's what I've learned from that. But you do definitely need to push up in body fat to grow.
I'm astounded by your frame of mind, where you're just like, I'm just going to do what I have to do. And it sounds like you just don't really even care what anybody else thinks or says
Yeah, I honestly don't like. I'm just focused on me. Like, you know, like I I've got a goal. So as long as I'm doing these things that I need to do, then at the end of the day, I'm gonna get there. You know, and if you're so bothered about what other people think, like you're never truly gonna achieve your true intentions because you're gonna be worried about what other people are thinking or saying. So just blank other people out. It doesn't matter what they think, as long as like you know what you're doing is right for you, then you know, just smash it out.
It's beautiful. It reminds me of that saying, if you stop to throw stones at every dog that barks, you'll never get to your destination. Have you ever heard
I've
that?
I've never heard that. I've never heard that. It must be like American.
I don't know. I don't know. I probably read it on Instagram somewhere.
It's good though. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely applies, and we can get so distracted. I know, even like on a, on a health level, a lot of people are like, well, I get feedback from, like, why aren't you eating like this or whatever? And you're just like, this is what I got to do. So
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, if they're like true to you, then they'll support you, and if they're not, then see them later.
do you think that a lot of this, a lot of the maybe negativity that comes at people who are trying to better themselves comes from people who are looking inwardly, thinking like there's like a jealousy or some sort of internal conflict going on?
Yeah, definitely, because you'll never be criticized from somebody that's doing more than you. It's always somebody that's doing less. You know?
Absolutely. Yes, you definitely will be only criticized by people doing less. So do you struggle at all with social media? Do you get any negativity off of social media?
Um, sometimes, I just kind of laugh at it though. Do you know what? More so on TikTok, because I post a lot of like gymnastics videos on TikTok. I actually last year posted a video and I woke up the next day and had gone viral. It had 1 million views, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know how to work it. But then I started using it more. But because there's like not really a such more of a bodybuilding community on there, it's, you know, like younger kids and stuff. They're probably looking at me thinking, that looks different. She looks different, you know. So they don't really understand, but I don't mind. I don't mind.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. Usually it's a comment. It's because somebody is different, and there's I guess, a fear behind that for some reason. So I don't know. People are strange on social media.
Yeah.
It's
I
never.
mean, you'd rather look different than the same as everyone else. So you want to stand out.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I always think that too. It's like, would you prefer that everyone looks the same? And then who gets to decide what the standard is? Like what we're all supposed to
Exactly.
look like.
Exactly.
So tell me, what is your favorite and your least favorite thing about social media?
Um, Probably like for the bodybuilding community, it's nice because it brings everyone together. And it's such a nice community that we do have on there. So like, I really appreciate that. And then social media, probably something that I dislike. Um, probably, like the negativity that it can come from it. You know, maybe like some people would feel pressure and stuff, but I just think everyone should just be themselves.
Yeah, I think that it's almost like sometimes people feel like they're not allowed to be because they're of this criticism. People will criticize you into a corner of what you're supposed to be like. And I think that's very frustrating. But yeah, you can find all kinds of amazing people on social media, and the bodybuilding community is amazing. I would have to agree. And all the categories, I think you all are like, all the fitness females know each other. I think you guys have a very good support group. Do you not?
Yeah, we really do. Like, it's so nice. Like, everybody speaks to everybody, so it's really good.
Yeah. What do you think about, did you watch the Arnold at all?
Yes, of course I did.
All right, let's hear your opinion. How do you think everybody did?
Ariel smashed it. She was so good. Like, her routine was just incredible. It was honestly incredible, and that's the best physique that I've ever seen Ariel bring to the stage. I just think she just went next level this year, so I'm super proud of her. Like, literally, it was so good. Missy is always incredible as well. Her tumbling passes that she puts on stage, like when, you know, like that's amazing to think, like, because it is like a solid floor. So yeah, and I think that Jacqueline was really up there as well. She was insane. I love Jacqueline's routines. Just like they're so artistic and pretty, and our skills are good as well. So yeah, I think that the top three deserve to be the top three for sure.
Perfectly stated. That's exactly what it is. And I think that's what's so cool about the fitness category is you really do get to be yourself, and whatever you are passionate about, whatever story you want to tell with your routine, that's exactly what comes out. And that's, you know, you have three different, it's like apples, oranges, and bananas, but here you are all up there being, you know, judged as fruit. And I wouldn't want to be one of the judges.
I know. I love how like all the routines can be so different, as you said. Like, it is everybody's personality coming through.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I do. And I thought the same thing about Jacqueline, because she has that style that I think Oksana brings a lot of time with the
artistic.
Yeah, it brings me to tears sometimes watching some of the performances. It's like, am I watching a ballet right now? But there's stunts involved. It's just incredible. It's incredible. So what's the plan? What do you got going on?
So I've literally just started prep.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've started prep now. I'll be 15 weeks out on Sunday from the Mr. Big Evolution in Portugal. So yeah, that's the plan, and then that's the plan.
So you do have to qualify for the Olympia. So we're hoping for a win there in Portugal. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
that's the plan. So the plan is to obviously try and win that, and then go back into like a small off season before the O, so I can make more improvements, and then prep again for the O, so I'm fresh.
Yeah. Well, I'm wishing you the best with that. We're excited to see you up on stage at the O performing again. That'll be awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about your training and yeah. So what does a training split look like? I know things are so different for you because you're practicing tumbling and stuff regularly as well. Oh, I know. I want to ask you, sidebar. Do you already know what your routine is and you're practicing it? Yes. So when do you decide that, and how long are you practicing it before you perform with it stepping on stage?
So I decided about 3 weeks after the Olympia, my next theme. Yeah, so like it's been an ongoing thing throughout the whole off season, because if you do it throughout the off season, it takes a bit of pressure off you for recovery and stuff on prep. So you need to cut the music, you need to choreograph it, everything like that. So it's been ongoing since then, but now we're just kind of looking at the choreography and things like that in it. So yeah, I'm super excited. It's a bit of a different take on it, but it's still very me. But yeah, I'm really excited for this routine.
I think that's an important thing too. I mean, I know someone who is actually, who is prepping isn't always doing fitness, but along with your practicing your fitness routine, I think for the average person who's getting into competing, you could relate that to posing and say you should always be posing in the off season as well. Would you say the same thing?
I will admit I slack on my posing in off season. I do. But when I'm on prep, I pose all the time, like every day. But definitely, like, I should pose in my off season. So yeah, pose in your off season, guys.
So do as she says, not as she does.
No, I will be something that I definitely am going to implement doing more next off season for sure. but as for training, so I need to bring up my upper body in comparison to my legs. I need to bring up my hamstrings and glutes a little bit as well. So throughout off season, I trained 4 on, 1 off. I would do push, pull, legs, delts, off, repeat, but with 2 rotations. But now gone into prep, I train Monday push, Tuesday pull, Wednesday rest. Then I do Thursday legs, Friday push, Saturday pull. So, but pull with posterior. So I have 1 legs a week. I have 2 delts, 2 back, and then also hamstrings and glutes on one of the back days as well. And then I do my routine and stretch every morning after fasted cardio.
Wow. Were you doing cardio in the off season as well, or was it less? I'm assuming it was less.
No, I don't do any cardio in my off season, but I'm doing gymnastics, so like my cardiovascular is still, still decent.
Absolutely. So I think this is an important thing for people to understand as well, that once you get to a point where you have a good amount of size on you, like you do, now it's a game of bringing up the weak points. And so your training split is designed around for that purpose, rather than just, doing a push pull legs like somebody would do in order maybe to just put on some size. So it's specific for you right now.
Definitely. I mean, if I was to keep growing everything, like my quads are so developed compared to everyone else on my body. Like it's like, if I was to keep growing them, I would have to keep growing everything else. So until everything else catches up, then I just kind of need to calm it down on my quads for a bit. But yeah.
What a terrible problem. You're like, we'd all like to have this massive quad sweep, and you're like, it's too big. So
it's not too big. You can't ever have. I would like a bigger one, but I'm under orders.
That's awesome. So I'm just astounded at the 18-month off season. I think that is like, that had to be, I mean, you had a mindset that you needed what you needed to do, and you needed to win, and you did it. But I just know so many women who are like, in a surplus for 6 weeks, and they're like, I can't do this anymore, and they immediately want to cut. So did you have to talk to yourself that way throughout this, to just be like, daily keep going through that?
No. Do you know what? It was just always the end goal was in my head. It was always, you're tiny, so get a grip. You need to eat. Like, you need to get it done. Do you want to look the same, or do you want to look better? You've got 2 choices at the end of the day: look the same or make improvements. And that's so much more important to me than looking a little bit lean all year round. I would rather have a little bit of body fat, and the next time you stand on stage, it looks like a different person. That's the fun part for me. Yeah.
I don't know if you would agree with this, that one of the biggest mistakes that women make is they don't pick a direction to go in for a period of time. They just keep flip.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, even if it's in your off season, like, you need to have goals. So like, I always have goals with like strength goals in the gym. Like, okay, like, this is what I'm going to do this off season. I'm going to deadlift 4 plates a side, or something like that. And then you're going to work until you get there, and then you progress that even more. And I think that's always super important to do, and have those things written out so that you can then go after it, because it is monotonous off season if it's a long one. So you do need to kind of split it up into time frames and go, right, I've got this amount of time to do this, and then just go after it.
Yeah. Strength goals in the off season rather than physique goals, because the physique goals are very hard to measure because you can't really see the muscle being built. I think that's like the best message ever, because women are constantly flip-flopping back and forth because they're trying to see progress, whether it's on the scale or even in pictures, and you can't always see that. So Alix, that's good advice.
Thank you.
Let's see here. So have you ever, I'm going to guess no, but have you ever cheated on a prep?
No.
No. She's like, I'm a machine.
No. I just don't know like how I would deal with myself if I did it. I mean, everybody gets food focus at the end of the day. Like everybody gets food focus. It is what it is. Like when you're at the back end, but just having that why in your head.
Yeah.
Just keep thinking about it. Keep letting it drive you forward.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do your emotions ever get the best of you? How do you handle things that might have in the past driven you to deviate from your goal or your why?
I literally like I just don't let it get to me. Like I'll just be like, if something starts to come in my head, I'll be like, right, do something else so that it's like gone. Because like usually like it would just be something that would come into your head and then it would be there for like, you know, a little bit and it would make you feel down. But at the end of the day, like you're gonna have to come out of it. So just don't let yourself get in it, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it does. It makes a lot of sense because a lot of the things that trigger something with us are if you just let it pass, let it go, like you said. It's very Frozen. It's very Elsa. You have to let it go like this. But it will. It'll just pass, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like even like having good people around you, if you ever like have like a bad thought or a bad time, like definitely like surround yourself with good people because they're always going to help.
Yeah, absolutely. So what does your family think about all this? Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I've got a little brother. And my mum and dad and family, like they love it
Yeah.
because they like obviously I've been competitive since I was a child. So like obviously when they see me go through that period of time that I wasn't really myself, they know that I need something that's competitive because it'll drive me. That's just who I am. It's like it's in my blood. So yeah, they're just super happy that I found something that I'm so passionate about.
Yeah, you have totally channeled what was previously almost like could have been negative energy into something very, very positive.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, what's the best and the worst thing about prep?
The best thing is because it's so mentally and physically tough, like when you push past your limits, like on something that you know didn't think you could do or something that was like super hard and you do it anyway, like that's amazing. Like that's a dream.
And then you're winning every day, like multiple times a day.
Exactly. So yeah. The worst part, it probably can get quite antisocial.
Do you feel like you have to pull away from things in order um to progress, in order to achieve what you need to do?
Nah, not really. Like, well, I mean, I wouldn't be going out and going to parties and stuff like that. Absolutely screw that. But like, if like, you know, like my family or that was to go out for a meal, like I would still go. I would just take my own food.
Yeah. Which even if you're there can still, it sort of does, I mean, ostracize is a big word, but it sort of does separate you from, so you are still doing your own thing. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, oh, so are you a food person normally? Do you like food?
Yeah. Yeah. And in my off season, like I my food's so high anyway. Like I'll have like my 8 meals in the day. But yeah, but my meal 6 is a burger and chips.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like, but the thing is like because I'm eating so much food, I'm just, you know, it's like over your head. Like I'm not really bothered what it is. But like after the show and stuff like that, obviously you do appreciate like nice food and that.
Oh my word. I just was thinking to eat a burger and fries every day would be that is a challenge in its own self.
When I got to the back end of prep for my pro debut, I was so flat and we couldn't get me full. So I was on 3 burgers and chips a day.
That's so crazy.
It was crazy. I ate like, honestly, you should have seen the amount of Snickers bars that I ate to get full for stage. It was crazy.
Well, you're definitely an outlier because I would say most people don't have to do this. So
It was like sleep for 2 hours so you can eat. That's what it was like. It was honestly like I was so flat that I have an issue with like staying full, and yeah. So hopefully we'll get it better this time. But
wow.
yeah.
Well, it's just a massive achievement for you to have turned all of this around from being anorexic to putting on so much lean muscle mass and really just taking control of your life. I love you just like don't really give a shit about anything besides
Like head down, blinkers on.
yeah.
Anything else or anyone that doesn't understand, they can just go away.
Alex, you're just such a badass. I'm all the respect for you. I've been
Thank you.
I think that's so awesome. Well, do you have time for a couple of fun, quick questions?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So what's your music style? What do you like to listen to?
Well, when I'm training, you'll probably laugh at this. In fact, you might not even know what it is, but do you know what hardstyle music is?
No.
I swear it's from our Scottish youth, like when we were younger, I swear, like just being little nutters. But yeah, it's like kind of like rave, like hardcore music.
Okay.
So I like hardstyle and techno music when I'm training. But I also like a bit of like grime and rap.
Yeah.
I like Stormzy, and I also really like indie music.
Okay. Indie music.
Yeah, like like the 1975, like the Arctic Monkeys. You
No.
might not know those. Probably don't know those bands, but yeah.
You'd be like, ooh.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But it sounds like a lot of high energy really gets you going.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. As far as your training goes, is there any exercises that you don't do that we might be surprised? Like you're doing deadlifts, you're squatting. Are you bench pressing? Are you doing like the major lifts or no?
No, nah, I don't flat bench. I do have like a set with dumbbells, but I don't flat bench. But I've actually just swapped out deadlifts for RDLs just to keep more tension on my hamstrings there, just to make sure like my recovery and stuff's like okay, because I just don't want to do anything stupid on prep.
That's very smart because yeah, I mean deadlifts too, they tax the central nervous system so hard. Like
but where I train, you would probably be pretty shocked if you've seen the gym that I train in, because it ain't got bodybuilding kit like machines and stuff like that. So I train push and pull in this gym, and everything's just like there's cables, there's one lat pull down. It's a good machine, but there's just dumbbells, and everything that I do is compounds. Most things are compounds, yeah. So like quite heavy. So I'll do like a heavy set, and then I'll do one all-out set. So like drop sets, rest pause, partials. And then I actually travel about an hour away from here to train legs.
Oh wow. So, oh my goodness, that's crazy. Wow, I just was thinking like that's a lot of compounds. And so there's no machines, there's no like hammer strength machines or anything like that.
Nope.
Wow. It's almost like what some of us had during lockdown.
Yeah, I mean there is a little bit more, but yeah, it's like kind of like old school style, kind of similar to that training. But no, we've got cables and like stuff like that, and there is like a couple of machines, but generally like I do a lot of compounds.
Yeah. You know what though, I I train at a Planet Fitness sometimes, and they only have a couple of back machines, and they have the I don't know, it's hydraulic or something, so it's like has a weird tension to it, and I don't like machines, so I actually do more like deadlifts,
rows,
like,
single
yeah,
arm rows, all those kind of things. But
yeah,
you know what? Like I always feel like I connect with them better. I'm not sure. Like I just like connect with it good.
yeah. Well, a machine oftentimes, like you said, if you don't fit to that machine, it's worthless to you.
Yeah.
So in it, I mean, imagine someone trying to create a back machine that's going to work for, someone who is,
Yeah.
think about the various sizes of
So different. Yeah, for sure.
yes, for sure. Whereas a dumbbell or a barbell.
Exactly. You can put yourself in the position.
Yeah, that's a very good training tip. That is something that I think is going to be helpful for a lot of people if they think about it, because it's important to know that if you don't connect with an exercise, and you probably
No point doing it. No point doing it. The thing is, like, people try and overcomplicate it, but at the end of the day, get strong at the basics. Literally get strong at the basic and absolutely rinse what you can out of it, and you will grow. You will grow.
this is the difference though between training and exercise, I think,
Yeah.
yeah. Whereas, and I think a lot of people think like, oh, I exercise in order to lose weight, but I mean, that's a misconception as well, because training is going to build that muscle and help you lose body fat at the same time. So it's always, I think, better.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not biased or anything.
I know, totally not biased.
What is your favorite body part to train if you aren't limited by what you have to do?
Quads. see me on that leg extension. Oh, I love a good leg extension, but no, I definitely my legs in general. I love training legs, but I also I feel a really good connection with my back. I enjoy training my back.
Yeah. What does a leg day look like for you? Either one. Well, you're doing more a hamstring glute dominant leg day more.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you?
So my leg day is I'll warm up with lying ham curls. So everything that I do, so all the exercises, I will warm up. I'll do a few feeder sets up to my heavy set, and then it'll be about 8 to 10 reps. That's my heavy set. So to absolute failure within the rep range. And then I'll do a back off set, which is between 12 and 15, failing again. And then I'll drop the weight 3 times, but all the 3 drops will have partials. And then at the end, I'll probably do a rest pause as well. So it's like absolutely rinse what you can out of the muscle. So yeah, I do a lying hamstring curl, then I'll do abductor, and then I'll do Smith machine squat. Then I'll go and do seated hamstring curl, then leg press, then I'll do adductor and calves.
Okay.
So it's quite a lot of pre-exhaustion, just so that I am like and glute bridges as well. Just so that I am using my hamstrings and glutes. And I've also got an RDL in there, so it's quite a big day.
That is a big day. How long is that? Well, you probably have less feeders when you get further down the chain with your exercises as well. Is that true?
Not really, because like I'm building up to the heavy set, but for the feeders, I'll do 1 or 2 reps. It's not loads, it's just 1 or 2 reps just to feel the weight. So it's like when you get to the heavy set, it's an all out set.
Perfect. I get what you're saying. That makes a lot of sense. Well, and you probably, it goes by pretty fast. I think that's something people don't realize too. They don't realize how much they're on their phone or talking or whatever when they're at the gym. And if you do an exercise and just make sure that you're resting so that your, heart rate comes back down to kind of normal before you go into your next work set, you're only doing 2 work sets, your top set and your back off set, and then your drop sets or whatever. So, I mean, how long are you usually at the gym?
Legs could be about 2 to 2.5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, because if I'm doing a set, I'm not thinking what I've got next. I'm thinking I'm going to absolutely rinse what I can out of this right now. And if I can't stand, then I'm not going to stand. So sometimes I'll take 10 minutes between going from that to warming up on the next thing.
Yeah, I get you. I get what you're saying. That makes a lot of sense. I think sometimes people don't give themselves enough rest, especially women. They're always like trying to like keep their heart rate up as if they're like doing their
Yeah,
exercise to
I
burn.
know it's so silly because that that's not what you're training for, but yeah,
Right? Like yeah, like keeping like as if training is for burning calories when it's like you had said before, we're trying to get stronger. We're not trying to burn calories. You will burn calories, but that's not the goal.
yeah, for sure, definitely.
Yeah. Do you have any pets?
No, I don't have any pets.
Do you like animals?
Yeah, I do. I really want a Sphinx cat. I really want one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What's stopping you from this goal of getting a Sphinx cat?
Just not sure yet. I will get one. I will get one. I just don't know where I'm going to be next.
Yeah. I mean, the cool thing about cats for the most part is they're not nearly as much upkeep as like a dog or something.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I would want to be settled somewhere before I got a pet, you know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, would you rather hike a mountain or swim in an oasis? Oh, swimming.
Swim, definitely. Yeah.
I was a swimmer too, starting when I was 5. My ears perk up when somebody says they were a swimmer. I'm always like thinking, oh, I know that lifestyle.
What was your stroke?
I swam the 100 butterfly and the 200 IM.
Yeah, I was a backstroker.
Yeah. That is a tough one for me. My head would always go from side to side.
I could never do
Breaststroke.
I could never do breaststroke because I couldn't think of the word. Couldn't do breaststroke because my legs would go out into box splits. So I was always so slow at breaststroke.
That was always you know what your weak strokes are when you do the IM, because when you get to that,
Yeah,
you
just slow down. I know.
It's always people would be like, don't worry, she'll make a comeback with the freestyle at the end. It'll be okay. But yeah, there's always something. Yeah. The learning the different strokes of swimming really tells you how your body is designed, because it just you're gonna be fit to kind of one best, butterfly was yeah.
You must have strong shoulders.
Yeah, well, I ended up having a torn rotator cuff at one point, but I think that was
God.
I was a little bit wider. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the epigenetic aspect of bodybuilders is always interesting to me, what your, athletics were as a child.
Yes, it's interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. So who inspires you? We didn't talk about that too much, but when you were getting into bodybuilding, did you start looking to different athletes to as to help you with your goal?
Yeah, so I've always looked up to Oksana.
Yeah.
Always, and Ariel as well.
Yeah.
And I think that Whitney is amazing. All of the girls up there, Misty, Jacqueline, I've always followed them and I've always looked up to them. So yeah, it was awesome standing on stage with them.
I'm sure that just had to be a moment where you were just like, I can't believe I'm here with my idols.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was amazing. Like it's one of those things, like when I was at the athletes meet and greet, I'm there getting met, but I'm like, I want to meet them,
I understand that completely. Even still, because I think like people don't understand the path that had to be paved by some of these women and men who have gone before us. And I think it's really important to know some of the history of the sport, because it's come a long way and there's some amazing trailblazers to get us to where we are. I have a special place in my heart for Oksana too.
She's just incredible, isn't she?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see it in her eyes, like she's just a good person. You know what I mean? You just can't.
She's so lovely. She's so nice.
Yeah, Absolutely. Well, Alix, what would you say as sort of a final message to women if you, if you wanted to kind of sum up some encouraging words?
So whatever you want to do, just go after it, and remember that action removes doubt, and work ethic eliminates fear. So whatever you're going to do, if you really want it, put everything you've got into it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely a testimony to that. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. If people want to find you and follow you on your journey, where can they search for you?
On Instagram, I'm Alix Small IFBB Pro. And most of the time I just post on there. I do have a YouTube as well. I think it's just Alix Small IFBB Pro, or maybe Alix Small, but I'm sure you'll find me. But yeah, I've started to kind of do like a prep series vlog, so vlogs.
Nice. That'll be awesome to watch, and we'll be cheering for you.
Thank you.
You have done amazing things with your short life so far. So.
We're just getting started.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for watching and listening to another episode of the Women's Fittest. You can find me on Instagram at buffcake22. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at the Women's Fittest, and listen wherever you find podcasts. And to remember that healthy looks different on everybody. Have a great day. Thanks, Alix.
Thank you. Bye.